The world in which we live is always evolving. Using public transportation and highways should teach us how to behave in public. Although most individuals are aware of this, some people are not. We need to adhere to the laws and guidelines established by the government in order to be a responsible member of society. One young man made the choice to profit from this. Public transportation may be both convenient and inconvenient. It may be a good experience if you respect the privacy of those around you. When you're on the receiving end of it, you have to put up with rudeness from other people. One subway rider was making his usual morning trip. He observed the disdain shown by an uninformed adolescent. He was being watched by other travelers as well. The angry guy intended to discipline him. It is challenging to own your own car with the growing cost of petrol. Since public transportation is inexpensive, many people depend on it to travel about safely each day. When forced to ride on a public transportation system with someone who is rude and disrespectful of personal space, sharing that space may turn into a nightmare. People appear to be becoming less tolerant as cities get more crowded. It seems reasonable that we should be more watchful and considerate to others when the expense of life rises. But this kid needed to learn a moral lesson. In cramped areas, you typically become immediately aware of your proximity to another person. If you touched that person, or they touched you, you would know. Some people may even take actions to prevent someone from approaching them too closely. There are several instances of this type of conduct. Have you ever passed by a seat and watched someone place their luggage on it? Why does that matter? Well, they don't want you to sit next to them, to put it bluntly. There are several methods in which individuals might express their dislike towards you. What, however, grants them permission to do so in a public area? Should everyone in a subway have the same rights to space and or seating if we all purchase tickets? The majority will agree, especially if we are all forking out the same amount for a ticket. Most of the time, individuals are reasonable and use common sense to make decisions. However, in other situations, we may have to deal with unpleasant, annoying people who believe they have the right to do whatever they choose. I ride first. Additionally, poor folks who lack common politeness frequently respond with, "I don't care," or "Why should I?" Each of us may strive to be patient. Many of us would ignore the offender or choose to leave if we were in that circumstance. Others, though, could respond in a more fair way and make an effort to establish themselves as well. And this hard-headed man did precisely that. Everything began with a tweet sent by Twitter user @DeDrop3. The tweet has about 137,000 likes, 47,000 retweets, and hundreds of comments as of May 2019. It became popular. The man's move was receiving good feedback from the public. He allegedly helped some people regain their belief in actual persons. Others were astounded by his bravery. But what did the tweet contain? Isabel Kim, a perceptive woman with the online handle @DeDrop3, was the one who captured this peculiar human encounter. She was a lady who believed it was necessary to depict real-life events. She was very delighted by the man's behavior. Her tweet went viral because of what this man did, which was humorous in terms of human nature under duress. All those who encounter the same type of treatment on subways have had their thoughts altered by the message. The majority of subways feature plastic seats that can only accommodate 3 people. For safety, there are occasionally poles and railings on the side. These guys were obviously of the opinion that they could occupy as much space as they pleased. Nothing is more impolite than someone taking up more room than they should. This man had to say something when he spotted the disrespectful adolescent. In the picture, the annoying youngster is standing with both feet elevated and is absorbed in his electronic gadget. This is why the caption on this image read "lay downer," a typical slang word. This teenager's actions quickly went viral. He is totally unaware of the grown man who is in front of him. He doesn't even turn to face him or even acknowledge him. The lad's behavior would have upset anyone. It's disturbing what the man did after that. It is a general rule of acceptance that you give up your seat to particular members of society: the disabled, those who are pregnant, and the elderly. When people approached this kid and asked him to move, the child simply ignored them and continued playing on his phone. To make matters even worse, his mom took no responsibility for her son and did nothing about his behavior. While the kid was ignoring the other passengers, who were eager to sit down, his mother was doing the same. She was completely ignorant of what was going on around her, just like her son. She too was distracted with her phone and focused on YouTube rather than the rest of the world. I guess being insensitive runs in the family. As the mom and son were lost in their tech, the other passengers were forced to stand. As the frustration from the other passengers was beginning to escalate, the kid finally took notice. In response, he moved his legs, but only slightly. To give the others some space, he crouched his legs, still refusing to take his legs completely off of the bench, adding to the other passengers' frustration. Then, one passenger, a hero of the midst, had enough and decided to do something. Suddenly, a mysterious-looking man came forth and took notice of the inconsiderate kid. The man wore black clothes and sunglasses, and bore a striking resemblance to a British pop star. In fact, many people commented that they were convinced this man was Elton John. Unfortunately, it wasn't Elton, but that still didn't take away from this man's amazing actions, one which made this tweet instantly go viral. Like the many before him, the Elton John lookalike stood there and waited for the boy to notice him. The kid never did. Offended by the kid's audacity, he knew that it was time to take matters into his own hands, and he did something that the kid would soon never forget. The man sat on the kid. It is important to note that the man did verbally ask the kid to move, but the boy continued to ignore him, leaving the man no other choice but to make his own space. Besides, the seat underneath the kid's legs was meant for a passenger like him anyway. The man thought it only right. The kid's reaction to this says it all. Kim was able to capture the exact moment when the kid realized he was being sat on. For a good couple of minutes, the boy was lost for words and just sat there with his mouth wide open in shock. It appeared that this was the first time that the kid didn't get what he wanted. The next set of photos show how hard it was for him to come to terms with reality. The man thought that he had every right to sit in the space that the boy had taken over with his legs, and rightfully so. Seeing that the boy, whose name was later revealed as Joe, had no respect, the man wanted to teach him a lesson. There is no denying that the boy learned the hard way, but by the time his mother realized what was going on, it was too late. When the man initially sat on her son, the mom persisted in playing ignorant. It was only when she missed her stop did the mom take notice of what was going around her. Immediately, she blamed her son. Of course, the only person to blame is herself for having been so absorbed in her music rather than her son. During all of this, Kim continued to record, sharing everything on Twitter. The boy's mom began complaining to her son and yelling at him in front of everyone on the subway, blaming him for missing their stop. It was clear to everybody in the subway that the boy was extremely uncomfortable. After being sat on by a stranger and ridiculed by his mom in front of everyone, it was evident that the kid wanted to leave as soon as possible. The argument between the mom and son was not recorded, and when Kim stopped recording, they got off the subway. However, it didn't just stop there, though. Shortly after the end of the video, the kid had a few things to say and included a few choice words. According to Kim, the boy turned on the stranger and began cursing. In an interview with the New York Post, Kim said, "When they got off, he yelled, F asterisk asterisk asterisk. But asterisk 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 you several times and stormed off." The story didn't end there. Somehow, it worked its way to other places. After hearing about this story, someone came up with the idea of creating a t-shirt featuring the infamous Lay Downer himself. The shirt is a simple white tee with a picture of Joe's hilarious reaction to being sat on. It's clear that the stranger and Joe will go down in subway folklore. Though many find the story comical, some people are not amused. While many were glad to see justice served, there are those who think it wrong of the stranger to sit on the kid. Some would even go so far as to say that this was a form of assault. While this is believed by a few, the majority support the man's action. Online, most believe that the stranger made the right choice in combating Joe's rudeness, praising the man by saying, "Not all heroes wear capes. He has zeros asterisk asterisk asterisks left to give, and he is my blood brother." No matter what side you may fall on, one thing is for sure: Joe will never forget the day he was schooled in subway etiquette.